All right, so we got a really fascinating listener request for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
They sent over this excerpt from a podcast called How Did the Universe Begin? Big Bang, Quran, and Bible.
Okay.
And it really delves into the different ways that we think about the origin of the universe. Like, where did it all
Big question.
begin?
Yeah.
So we're going to try to give you a clear picture of these different origin stories and maybe even spark a little bit of that curiosity about, our place in all of this.
Absolutely. Because it's a question that everyone asks at some point, right? Like,
Yeah.
where did we come from? What's it all about?
So let's start with what science tells us about this.
All right.
The Big Bang Theory, right?
Yeah.
That's the prevailing scientific explanation.
Big.
Yeah, and our source mentions that about 13.8 billion years ago,
Okay.
the universe began as this incredibly tiny point.
Tiny.
Like smaller than a grain of sand.
Wow.
Imagine that.
That's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, and the Big Bang wasn't just like a regular explosion in space.
Yeah.
Like this was the beginning of space and time itself.
Right. Everything, all the matter and energy we know compressed into this infinitely small point.
Like a singularity.
A singularity, exactly.
Yeah, and then it rapidly expanded outwards.
And it's still expanding, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the wild part. Like we can actually observe galaxies moving away from each other.
Which supports the idea
Right.
of this ongoing expansion.
Exactly.
And from that initial state, everything we see today.
Everything.
Yeah, the galaxies, the stars, the planets, even us.
Came from that.
It's mind-boggling.
So the Big Bang Theory gives us this like framework for understanding how the universe evolved.
Right, a structure.
Yeah, and it's backed up by what we see in the cosmos.
Exactly. It's not just a guess.
All right, well now let's look at how some religions view the beginning of the universe.
Okay.
Our source talks about the Islamic and Christian perspectives.
Got it.
In Islam, the Quran describes the creation of the heavens and the earth in 6 periods. Yeah, and there's this interesting verse, Surah Al-Anbiya 21.30,
Okay.
that says, do not those who disbelieve see that the heavens and the earth were joined together than these? We split them apart.
Ah.
It's interesting because it kind of had this parallel to the Big Bang.
Yeah, the idea of everything starting as one thing
Right.
and then separating
Unified and then
boom,
Yeah.
it's splitting apart.
that's the echo of that scientific concept.
I see what you mean.
So then in Christianity,
Yeah,
the Bible begins with Genesis 1.1.
familiar.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Right.
And then it goes on to describe 6 days of creation,
Okay.
with God creating light, the sky, land, the stars, animals, humans, and then resting on the 7th day.
So it's like a deliberate,
Yeah, very deliberate.
a structured creation.
Yeah, by a divine being.
And while the timeline and the how are different from the scientific account,
Right.
both of these perspectives, both science and religion,
Yeah.
are trying to answer that same question.
Where do we come from? Where did it all begin?
It's a big one.
And it seems like there's this shared human desire
Definitely.
to understand our origins.
You find meaning in that beginning.
Yeah, like where do we fit into all of this?
It's like a story
Exactly.
or story.
Right. And that brings us to some even bigger questions.
Like what?
Like what could have possibly come before the Big Bang?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
What existed before the creation described in these religious texts?
You're going deep now.
Right.
It's making my head spin a little bit.
Well, our source points out that this curiosity,
Yeah.
this desire to ask why, is really central to being human.
I think that's so true.
Yeah, it drives scientific discovery.
And fuels those big philosophical
Hey,
debates.
every major breakthrough started with someone asking why.
Why are we here?
Exactly.
What's it all about?
So what does all of this mean for you listening right now?
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, the key takeaway is that you're a part of this huge story
This massive universe.
full of wonder and mystery.
Ab-
And just by being curious,
By asking these questions,
yeah, you're already participating in exploring these ideas.
you're already a part of the journey.
And that's pretty cool.
It is.
So as you go about your day, think about this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Both scientific and religious perspectives point to a universe with a really profound beginning.
Deep stuff.
Yeah. And maybe even an interconnected origin.
A
So what does that suggest about our place in all of this,
lot to think about.
right? Like where do we fit into this grand scheme of things?
Thanks for getting my brain working.
Anytime.
I'm going to be pondering this all day now.
I know, me too.
It's fascinating.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
And keep those questions coming.
Keep them coming.
We'll be back next week with another fascinating topic.
Can't wait.
See ya.